The Lost Togepi of Caspendale Creek. The afternoon sun cast a warm, honey-colored glow over Caspendale Creek, making the water glitter like 1,000 tiny diamonds. Sterling sat on a large, flat rock near the water's edge, carefully examining a smooth, gray stone he had just found. He turned it over and over in his palm, admiring its perfect shape before gently placing it into his collection box. Not far away, Turner was having a much louder kind of fun, his bright red rain boots making loud sploosh sound in the shallows. "Watch this, Pikachu!" he shouted, sending a flat stone skipping across the water's surface. Pikachu, perched on the grassy bank, cheered with a happy Pika Pika as the stone bounced 4 times before sinking. Sterling sighed softly, rearranging his stones so they were perfectly aligned. He looked up just as Turner prepared to launch another rock, but something else caught his eye further downstream. Tucked among the tall, green cattails was a flash of white, dotted with little red and blue shapes. "Hey, what's that?" Sterling called out, pointing with a curious finger. Turner stopped, his stone throwing forgotten, and squinted in the direction his brother was pointing. "It looks like a big, funny painted egg!" he yelled, and without another thought, he began stomping through the water toward it. "Turner, wait!" Sterling called, quickly closing his collection box. "We should be careful. Let's find a path on the rocks." But Turner was already halfway there, his enthusiastic splashing sending little waves rippling through the creek. Sterling followed at a more measured pace, his eyes scanning for a safe route across the mossy stones. He found a line of dry, stable rocks and hopped carefully from one to the next. By the time he reached the patch of cattails, Turner was already crouched down, peering at the mysterious object with wide, wondrous eyes. It was indeed an egg, smooth and white with a pattern of cheerful red and blue triangles. It was bigger than a chicken egg, but smaller than an ostrich egg, and it sat nestled in a small, cozy indent in the muddy bank. As they watched, the egg gave a tiny little wobble. Suddenly, a bright light shone from within the egg, and thin cracks began to spiderweb across its surface. The light grew brighter and warmer, and with a final, gentle pop, the top of the shell broke away. A small, light yellow Pokémon with a round body still encased in the bottom half of its shell peeked out at them. It had tiny, stubby arms, big dark eyes, and 5 spikes on its head that looked like a little crown. "Togepi!" it chirped, its voice like the sound of tiny, happy bells. The newly hatched Togepi blinked in the bright sunlight, then waddled forward on its little feet, straight toward Turner. The Togepi nudged its head against Turner's boot and let out another happy "Togepi." Turner giggled, his earlier boisterous energy softening into pure delight. "It likes me," he whispered, reaching down to gently pat the Pokémon's head. Sterling watched, a smile on his face. The Togepi seemed happy and healthy, but it kept looking around as if it were searching for something. It would chirp, look at the trees, look back at the creek, and then snuggle against Turner again. "I think it might be lost," Sterling said softly, his observant eyes scanning the area. He noticed something shimmering on a nearby fern leaf, like a speck of glitter. "Look," he whispered, pointing. "There's a little trail of sparkling dust leading into the woods." Turner and Pikachu looked where he was pointing and saw it too. The trail was faint, but it led from the creek bank up a small slope and into the dappled shadows of Caspendale woods. They realized the Togepi must have wandered away from its family and tumbled into the creek. "We have to help it get back home," Turner declared, his voice full of purpose. The Togepi seemed to understand, letting out an encouraging chirp and waddling a few steps in the direction of the trail. And so their new quest began, with Sterling leading the way, carefully following the sparkles, and Turner and Pikachu walking alongside their new friend. The woods were peaceful and quiet, filled with the soft rustling of leaves and the distant songs of Pidgey. The trail of sparkling dust led them deeper, past thick oak trees and patches of sunlit moss. The Togepi trotted happily, occasionally pointing its little arm forward as if to say, "This way." They soon came to a thick bramble of thorns that blocked their path completely. "Oh no, we're stuck," Turner said, looking at the sharp prickles. He puffed out his chest and looked like he might just try to push his way through. "Don't do that, you'll get hurt," Sterling warned, holding out an arm to stop him. He looked at the thorny wall, thinking for a moment. "I have an idea," he said, and called upon his own Pokémon friend. "Flygon, could you help us?" With a gentle whirring of wings, the large, green dragonfly Pokémon appeared, hovering gracefully in the air. Sterling explained the problem, and Flygon nodded, lowering itself so Sterling and Turner could climb onto its long back. With the Togepi held safely in Turner's arms and Pikachu on his shoulder, Flygon lifted them smoothly into the air, flying right over the thorny bush and setting them down gently on the other side. As they continued, they came to a wide, muddy puddle that stretched across the path. Before Sterling could even start looking for a way around, the little Togepi wiggled in Turner's arms. It held up its stubby arms and its fingertips began to glow. "Togepi," it sang, waving its arms in a funny little dance. This was the move known as Metronome, where a Pokémon could perform almost any move at random. A shower of soft pink and blue sparkles erupted from its fingertips, swirling in the air before forming a solid bridge of pure, shimmering light that arched perfectly over the mud. Turner gasped with delight. "Whoa, it made a magic bridge!" he cheered. They walked carefully across the beautiful, glowing path, which felt solid and warm beneath their feet, and it vanished in another puff of sparkles once they were safely on the other side. A little further on, they heard a rustling in the bushes, and a grumpy-looking Mankey swung down from a branch, blocking their way and chattering angrily. Turner took a step back, but the little Togepi didn't seem scared at all. It just tilted its head and looked at the Mankey with its big, kind eyes. "Togepi," it said softly, using the move Charm. Its whole body was surrounded by a gentle pink aura that floated over to the Mankey. The grumpy Pokemon's scowl slowly faded. Its shoulders relaxed, and it blinked a few times before letting out a soft grunt and peacefully wandering off into the trees. The trail of sparkling dust was growing brighter now, and they could hear the faint sound of musical chirps up ahead. They walked into a beautiful, sun-dappled clearing filled with wildflowers. There, sitting on a mossy log, was a larger Pokémon that looked like a grown-up Togepi, with wings like an angel and another little Togepi beside it. It was a Togetic, and it was looking around with a worried expression. When it saw Sterling and Turner emerge from the trees with the lost baby, its face lit up with joy. "Togetic!" it cried happily, flying over to them. The little Togepi in Turner's arms chirped excitedly and waddled over to its family. There were happy nudges and cheerful sounds all around. The family was reunited, and it was all thanks to them. The Togetic floated in front of the boys, its expression full of gratitude. It flapped its graceful wings, showering them in a fine, glittering dust. The dust didn't feel like dirt at all. It felt warm and peaceful, and a wave of deep contentment and happiness washed over both Sterling and Turner. As the sun began to dip below the trees, painting the sky in soft shades of orange and pink, the boys said goodbye to the happy Pokémon family. They walked back through the woods, their Pokémon friends beside them, feeling a quiet, sleepy joy from their adventure. The Togetic's happiness dust made their legs feel heavy and their eyelids feel ready for rest. That night, tucked snugly in their beds, Sterling thought about the smooth, perfect stone he had found, and the even more perfect feeling of helping a lost friend. Turner dreamed of magic light bridges and the happy, bell-like chirp of a brand new friend. And all through the house there was a feeling of warmth and peace. A little bit of the magic from Caspendale woods that they had brought home with them. The end.